welcome to the SLO Sound. I'm your host, JJ Jackson. And as a journalist, it is my duty to remain on the outside of a story and not get involved, so as to remain objective. But for this episode, I've been pulled into the story by the powerful reach of modern society. So I must inform you listeners that I will be giving my commentary during this episode, because I am now in the midst of a changing city, lashing out at its middle and low income residents as it tries to evolve its identity. The city of San Luis Obispo officially gave up recently on trying to implement its controversial rental home inspection program. But though there is no inspection program in place anymore, landlords are still being threatened with fines by the city, and renters, like myself, are experiencing the fallout. On this episode of the SLO Sound, Gentrification in SLO. SLO is growing fast, and adequate housing is becoming a great challenge. SLO is growing so fast that some think the housing conditions are suffering. Over 60% of the homes in SLO are rentals, and some houses date back decades. With such high demand for housing, some tenants may move into rentals that might not have been properly maintained. Citing health and safety concerns, the city of SLO voted in 2015 to start a rental home inspection program to be sure minimum health standards were enforced. For the last 2 years, the program has been met with increasing controversy, to the point where the city has been sued for violating constitutional rights of residents, and the city has recently settled that lawsuit for $18,000, according to reporting by the Tribune. As of September 2016, only about 13% of the targeted rental units in SLO were inspected, and the public debate was quickly turning sour. Some tenants even teamed up with their landlords to sign refusal to entry petitions, in accordance with the clause in the inspection ordinance that allowed for tenants to refuse the inspection, according to reporting by the New Times. This is what I did, along with my roommates and our landlord. The city never came to do the inspection on my house, and I thought that would be the end of it. But I was wrong. Meanwhile, in December 2016, the SLO County Board of Supervisors decided to increase the in-lieu fees for developers to try and put more pressure on them to include affordable housing in their new projects. When a developer comes to build, they can either include affordable housing, or they can choose to pay an in-lieu fee instead. This is supposed to encourage more opportunities for affordable housing, and as of the time of the fee increase, only one housing development in Templeton chose to build affordable units instead of paying the fees. But SLO remains one of the country's least affordable housing markets, and the rental inspection program was just making things worse for landlords and renters. So in March of this year, the city voted to repeal the ordinance. And again, I thought the issue was over and my life as a renter was going to remain stable. But again, I was wrong. Despite there being no inspection program on the books, the city sent over a mysterious, unidentified worker to inspect my home from the view of the sidewalk. This man harassed my roommate while he was there, and then proceeded to write a threatening letter to myself, my roommates, and our landlord, stating that the landlord would face fines if he didn't fix the listed violations. Want to know what those violations were? A crack in the window, overgrown bushes, and having a chair on the porch. Shortly after the city sent a spy over to perform an illegal inspection, my roommates and I were served an eviction notice because instead of wanting to fix the violations, our landlord decided he would rather tear the house down and build high-priced condos. So now, after years of being a stable renter, I'm being kicked out of my house because SLO wants to get rid of its low and middle income residents in its quest to become Little Santa Barbara. My story is only the beginning. My next door neighbors are being kicked out too. And they're a young family. I know another pair of renters who used to live in a house outside of downtown SLO. They received a city inspection, and their landlord was given such a writhing by the city that they decided to remodel the entire house, split it into 2 units, and double the rent. One of the former renters was kicked out, and the other was promised one of the new units, half the house, at double the rent, but was expected to still pay the increased rent even while the floors were torn up and all the furniture was moved out while the house was being remodeled. So now, as the city claims to not have displaced anyone, I've mentioned just a couple examples. A few houses and 8 people who are forced out because SLO wants to raise its economic status at the expense of its citizens. This is gentrification, and I think SLO's identity is suffering from the greed of its isolationist citizens and city officials who allow and promote class discrimination to continue. SLO has a history of being an example of progress, leadership, and a community working together. And that is at stake right now as SLO continues to grow too fast for its own infrastructure and culture to handle. I've been living in SLO for almost 10 years, and just in this last decade I've seen SLO shift from a place of opportunity, inclusivity, and inspiration to a place of exclusion, divisiveness, and class warfare. While a city tries to beautify its neighborhoods, it is pushing out some of the residents who truly embody the open, compassionate, collaborative nature that SLO used to nurture. As SLO loses these residents, it loses its character. In its quest to evolve in the modern day, SLO will likely lose more residents like this. I just hope SLO doesn't ultimately lose its heart. You're listening to the SLO Sound. Thanks for listening to the SLO Sound. I'm JJ Jackson, and like I mentioned last episode, we have started a new segment as a celebration and gift to all you supporters of the SLO Sound. We now have SLO Trivia, a new challenge segment to the show, featuring trivia questions about San Luis Obispo and all of SLO County. The first person to email the correct answer to news@slosound.com, that's news@slosound.com, will win a $25 gift card to their favorite grocery store. Please include your mailing address when you email your answer. And I guess I picked a pretty difficult first challenge because so far no one has been able to figure out the answer. But we're going to give it another try because I know there's got to be someone out there who can hunt down the correct answer. Plus, I'm going to give you the name of the local book where I got the answer. Our trivia question is taken from the book series San Luis Obispo, 100 Years of Downtown Businesses by local author Guy Crabb. The book series focuses on different parts of downtown and includes historical pictures and information about downtown SLO. You can learn more and get copies of all the books by visiting the website SLO100years.com. That's SLO, the number 100, years.com. Here's our SLO trivia question. The Fremont Theater opened on Memorial Day, May 29th, 1942. What movie did the Fremont Theater play at its grand opening? It was a movie starring Tyrone Power and Jane Fontaine. Again, what movie played at the opening of SLO's Fremont Theater on Memorial Day, May 29th, 1942? You can find the answer in the book San Luis Obispo, 100 Years of Downtown Businesses. Or just do some good sleuthing work. And email your answers to news@slosound.com. And the first person to do so and include their mailing address gets a $25 gift card to their favorite grocery store. If you have news ideas, or if you are a musician, writer, artist, or other creative person and want to be featured on the SLO Sound, send an email to news@slosound.com. Or you can reach us on Facebook and Twitter at SLO Sound and on Instagram at The SLO Sound. You can watch videos of the full interviews and performances from this show by going to the SLO Sound playlist at the Phoenix Rising Studios YouTube channel at youtube.com/fresh-new-ideas. And you can check out all of our episodes by subscribing to the SLO Sound podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or by going to slosound.com. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other, and let your voice be heard.